Mr. Guy Davis, welcome in Belgium. You started yesterday your tour in Belgium.
Yes.
Before you were in the UK, or yes?
Correct.
Until now, everything as expected. No problems.
No problems with the tour, just U.S. politics, but that's another story. The tour has been going fine.
I stayed this night till 3 o'clock on the TV, but my feeling was not good. He did it, but today we do an interview with you. It's an interview for Roots Time. We are a music website. We have a lot of people that come to visit our site, so all that you want to say, do it today because it's an opportunity. Let's start. You start today in the Belgium, Netherlands, what we call the lowlands, because it's very flat. We don't have mountains, just in the south here in Belgium, but not that mountains like in the USA. Just
Yes, I heard about the dike and the boy with his finger in there. Is he still there?
yeah.
Okay.
Today you're in HALEN. You're in the Flemish part of Belgium. Here in HALEN is a city. It's a small city, but here in HALEN they tried during World War I, 1914, to stop the German because they want to go to Antwerp to take over the harbor. But we tried to hold them 2 days. It happened here in HALEN. That's what they call it here, the Battle of the Silver Helmets, because they were on horses and they lost their helmets. I can show you one. These helmets. We found a lot of helmets here on the battlefield, and that's why they called after the battle of the silver helmets here in HALEN. Mr. Guy Davis, does it make any difference if you have to perform in a huge hall or like today in a small club? What's your mindset? Do you change the way you play or your set list maybe or the songs?
I change according to how I feel.
Because you're sitting very close to the people. You can almost feel them, hear them, touch them.
I change going by how I feel. I believe that whoever comes to see me, I owe them as much energy as I can muster. And they never get a bad show if it's just a few people. They never get a bad show if it's many people. They get the best I can give them. Now, if it's a larger hall, it's hard to be intimate. It's hard to tell stories to people just in the first 7 rows if it goes back.
Oh yeah, yes, in the bigger hall,
50,
yeah.
60 rows.
Yeah.
But I do the best I can to be open and inclusive to everybody.
Yeah. You are the storyteller.
I try to be.
That's why where the blues is all about, stories and things that happen in normal lives, and the man on stage, he tells us about it, he sings about it. Okay, very good. When we introduce you here in the living room in a week, we got 50 people who want to come, so complete. So normally I don't have to introduce you. When I do an interview, I always say that is Mr. This and this is his work, but how would you introduce yourself, describe yourself in a few words, what is very important for you in your own introduction? Singer-songwriter, but there's more, I know it.
I tell people I am a singer of songs and a teller of tales. There is no tale so tall that I cannot tell it, nor song so sweet that I cannot sing it.
Oh.
That's what I say.
That's what I say. Can I say, or can we state, that it was because of your family that you became a musician, or were there more reasons?
I think I became a musician because it was in me. My family provided space and opportunity. They did not discourage me. As a matter of fact, I had to take piano lessons when I was just a little boy My sisters and I all had to take them. I was the first one to quit. And now I'm the only one making a living doing music.
By playing guitars and singing songs. No,
And
no more
banjos and
banjo,
harmonicas.
harmonica, but no more piano.
Well, not as a performer, but I've used it as a
Maybe
composer.
yeah, just to set up for your songs. Yeah.
To make arrangements for other musicians.
But you were also, I think, an actor in films.
I am.
Still am, or you were? No.
I am. If the opportunity came through the door right now and said we got $8 million for you to play this role, I'm ready to go do it. You have to understand, on a stage, I don't separate so much being a musician or an actor. I get to perform either way.
There's another thing. When I read something about you, it was the next thing that you are very attached to traditional acoustic blues. Is that correct, or?
That's correct. I'm attached to acoustic blues, the traditional stuff, also to folk music of the African American variety, of the African variety, of the Celtic variety, of all kinds of music from around the world. I also am attached to symphonic music and the sound of orchestras. Music is my religion, and blues is just the door of the church that I go through.
Yeah, yeah.
I go through many doors.
But it's not so that you are only traditional. You also are innovative, do new things, or not?
Yes, I'm a composer, correct.
Composer, yeah. Okay. When you meet people in your shows, do you think that there are enough young people to ensure the future?
I would like for there to be more young people.
Because when we have here shows, I think the age 40, 50, but not 20, 30. You don't see them that much. The elder people, they believe more in the music and the blues and in going to a show, going to a singer-songwriter, listening to music. But do you also have the same experience?
Well, when I was 8 years old, I first heard not just the blues, but folk music and old songs, beautiful songs, like Kisses Sweeter Than Wine and Woody Guthrie Deportees. So I think it's a matter of young people being exposed to the music.
Yeah.
It's not that they're not interested, they need exposure.
Oh, yeah.
They'll latch onto it.
Do you feel big differences between the shows in the States and here in Europe?
Not big differences. There are differences, but not big ones.
Yeah. It's the same way that we listen, that we have interaction with the man on stage.
Well, I find that in the United States we have many things to distract us. In addition to the internet, before that there was television with like thousands of channels. So it was easy to take a performer for granted because there's so much more you can do. If I come here, especially to a place where English is not the first language, or even to England where it is the first language, I don't feel taken for granted. I find that people are attentive, very attentive, and they want to know, they want to hear.
Okay. If I did my homework correct, your first album, I have to go back to 1978. Is that also correct?
That's correct.
It was an album that was called Dreams About Life.
Yes.
Do you still remember that album and the songs, or is that too long away? Do you still sing songs of the album? Because I've listened to the album, I found it different with the albums that you do now. And then I named your latest album, The Legend of Sugar Valley. I think they are totally different.
Some people say totally different. I think that music in me has been a process for
Yeah,
all these
to
many
this-
years.
Yeah,
And so there's growth. People don't call me a folk musician, but I am a folk musician. And I arrange tunes so that they rub against the ears really nicely. That's what I aim to do. That is
Yeah.
what I try to do.
you very often sing songs of Mr. Bob Dylan, yes. That's why I always say that's the folk side of Mr. Guy Davis. Yeah, he has something folky inside, and I think, he likes folk music. But you tell it yourself.
Oh yeah, folk and rock and roll and many kinds of music.
Did you said songwriting is an ongoing process? I think
Yes, it is.
over the years, how different are the songs? When I go back to 1980, 1990, and you go back to today, do you think that the songs are different? Other items, other.
I think that there is a difference. I believe that
Maybe the approach, I don't know, but
I think that they show growth of me as a writer and an artist. But it's a path.
the path. I think when you get elder, you have more time to reflect things that have passed. You have more time to think. I think so.
Yeah, more time to think and less time to live.
Because Mr. David, I looked for your age. You're not that old. I'm even a little bit older, so.
Well, I'm one age for men, but when women walk in the room, I like to drop 20 years away. But I tell them that, and they know my secret.
Yeah, they do your secret.
All right.
Let me go to your latest album. It's not your last album, I'm sure about that. But I think it was your 20th album, but I think there are more. I don't know.
I don't know how many albums I have.
What I did, I wrote a review for Roots Time about your album. We put it on the website, and there were a few things left. Let me have noticed. This is the page that I need. What stayed with me, what stuck with me is the songs are dedicated. I don't know all of them, but a few songs are dedicated to your uncle, William. Is it Conan Davis?
William Conan Davis, yes.
You must tell us something about it, because there's a story around the song.
Okay.
He's a storyteller, so, but the way he told you stories, tell us the story.
Okay. Well, Uncle Willie was a stutterer. But he told stories better than most of the people I've ever heard tell stories. I don't know how he did it. He was also an educator.
Educator?
Yes, he learned and taught biochemistry and medicine and pathology, and he was an inventor. There's a building in Texas named after him in a university. And my whole family knew a story about a woman who was murdered. This is actually in Georgia.
Yeah.
And the song Sugar Belly is just a fictional account of that story.
It's a murder ballad about a lady in Texas. She was killed by a jealous lover, I read somewhere.
Yeah. The real murder happened in South Georgia, and she wasn't strangled, she was shot to death in a car out by a swamp. And the man who killed her was the same man who the Ku Klux Klan wanted to kill my grandfather. They wanted that black man to kill my grandfather. And of course that didn't happen because I'm here telling the story. The story of the woman's murder is something that my uncle told me every time he saw me over the span of decades, and he always used the exact same words. So I knew the story by heart. So when he told it, it was like a ceremony. And the man who killed her, my entire family knew him, as I said, and he haunted the family. My uncle told me the last words this woman spoke before she was killed. That got inside me. And I also wrote a play of Sugar Belly. And my uncle died the day I finished writing that play. There's more to say about it than I can fit into a simple interview. Those words haunted me, but even more, those same words haunted the man who killed the woman.
Yeah.
Because that's how the world learned what those words were. He drank himself to death, and he told on himself, he spoke those words. My uncle was able to tell me, and I tell the world in my play. And the song, like I said, it reflects that, but it doesn't mention the words. It doesn't. It's not the exact true story. It's the story.
Is your uncle still living here? Because I don't.
No, he died
Yeah.
the day that I finished writing a play
Yeah.
about Sugar Belly. This was in 2022.
22.
And he was in his 90s when he died.
Another thing that I wrote in my review, that the songs mostly reflect earlier periods.
Yeah. That's because Sugar Belly, my character, would in the play and in the song, that's the music that she would have heard when she was a young person.
Mm-hmm.
She would have heard the music of Blind Lemon Jefferson and Leadbelly, and the old, early kind of the blues. So I've got songs in my album that are about a medicine show. Salesman is selling you medicine, but it's mostly alcohol, that kind of stuff. It's all in there. I've got a song called Lara. That was my grandmother's name. And there's a true story where, the song goes, Laura, won't you open up your door? Laura, won't you open up your door? Well, in real life, I heard the song by Leadbelly, but in real life, my grandmother, when she was a younger woman, she was married to my grandpa. There was a young man who came out on the railroad camp and he saw my grandmother and he liked it. And so I can imagine him saying, Laura, won't you open up your door? And singing like the song says. But my grandfather heard this man pestering my grandmother, and he was inside asleep. He came out of the cabin, grabbed this man by the seat of his pants and his collar, and threw him up on the roof of the house.
A strong man.
Yeah, well, he came down and they never heard from him again. So that's the kind of, that song just reflects the kind of life that my grandmother and grandfather lived.
I also choose a favorite song.
That's it.
Yeah, let's do that. I was put a mark on the line of the song, and my favorite is Early in the Morning.
Early in the morning.
It's so, I can, it's difficult to explain it, but it comes over you and you get the song into you. It's a great song.
I wrote that song in the early, in the first year of COVID-19.
21, no.
Yes.
No.
I wrote it then, and I was doing a Facebook live cast.
Yeah,
I did the Coffee with Kokomo. I did half hour every day except Saturdays. I did 400 of them, and I kept writing songs and writing and writing. I wrote the play, I wrote the songs, and I would play them on this live cast. And a couple of the people who I called it part of the coffee shop, but they just were online, watching the show. A couple of those people died. And the song connected. It's meant to be a song about saying goodbye to people that you love. and sometimes it brings tears
Yeah.
to members of the audience. But hopefully they are healing tears. And partly because of that, I took that song and I put it into my play of Sugar Belly, because it was a way of giving this woman who nobody knows her face, her name, her age, they just know she was a black woman. It gives her a memorial to a completely unknown woman who was nothing.
Now you're saying that you're singing this song over a long time over the years. That's not a new song, because I think that you also did a song in Yale years ago. Is that possible?
Well,
No.
I know I sang the song Sugar Belly
Yes,
in Yale,
but not.
but early in the morning
No, I'm wrong.
I sang it as a memorial
Yeah.
to the woman when I wrote the play.
That was Sugar Belly. I think that
Yeah.
it's in my mind. Yeah. Do you have also a favorite or a special song on the new album? Your own
Well,
favorite?
my two favorites are Sugar Belly, the story song, and Early in the Morning. But they all have a place.
Okay. I wrote also a final quote. I said over that, like all the other albums of Guy Davis, it's an album where there is nothing really wrong. It's just a great album. You can't find anything that's wrong on your album. That's your strength. You always all your releases are good albums. That's the way I ended my review. Like always, a good album. It's a Guy Davis album.
Thank you for your compliment, but unfortunately, I think this every time I listen, oh God, I wish I did that different and change this and that.
Yeah.
So I'm never satisfied.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, you're the composer.
But
you
I will
hear
say-
and you hear everything, but that we don't. We feel a song, and when it sounds good and when the feelings are good, then we are happy.
Well, I'm happy when the audience receives it and they feel it and they understand. That's when I'm happy.
Okay, Mr. Davis, I have a few questions to finish.
Okay.
If you could do it over again, you will be again. Would be again a musician. With the things maybe that you know at this moment.
Well, let's see, would I again be a musician? I
Maybe you have.
probably would, but musician to me is just part of being a performer.
Yeah.
So I would either be that or an actor, or I continue to be a writer of stories and of songs and plays. And if I couldn't do that, I would draw or paint. I'd be an artist. And if I couldn't do that, I'd help put out fires, be a fireman.
Fireman,
If
fish.
I couldn't do that, I'd be an astronaut.
Yeah,
I
why
got to
not?
meet two of the Mercury astronauts. I got to meet Scott Carpenter and John Glenn. I met them at the Explorers Club in New York City a few years ago.
It's great.
But if you have enough money, you can go into the.
Oh no, I'm not interested in anything that those billionaires,
they're
like
not-
Elon Musk and those guys.
They're not names today because.
Oh, no
I think
names,
they
yeah,
know
no
names.
names.
But I think we are talking about the same person. Yes.
Yes. Perhaps those billionaires and certain politicians can make that first trip to Mars and stay there.
Yeah. We must put all them into a rocket and then let them go. Yes. Do you have also a bucket list, a list with things that you want to do when you have time? And is there more than music and being other things in your life?
Write more plays. I have other work that is not ready for performance yet, but I would like to be on stage doing those words. I do one-person shows often. In fact, Sugar Belly was a one-person play, and I'm on the stage for an hour and 45
Then
minutes.
you tell and you
Talking
sing.
and sing.
And you sing.
And you know, acting out the parts. We do a work song with the axes chopping, and I do the harmonica stuff. But there's even more.
Okay.
There's even more.
You are also interested in Earth because you Earth Muse Collective. The Earth.
Earth musical. Earth.
Yes, you are. Did I
Earth-
pronounce
Earth-
it good? Yes, the Earth Muse Collective. You work also to get the world better.
Okay. Oh, I think. Okay, I see what you mean. I don't think I work hard enough
No.
to do that, but I would like the world to be a fairer place, a place with more justice, a place where we are free to speak our minds. Yeah,
Okay.
Earth Muse. I like that.
I have a last question. Has being a musician made you become a better person or a different person? Maybe both.
Being a musician has made me become a fulfilled person, I think. I look at these photos of musicians on the wall, people I've worked with, like Charlie Musselwhite, people like Eric Bibb, who I count as a dear friend. The day my father died, I called him. That we are close, and I knew his father.
Yeah.
And I got to say goodbye to his father before he died. So I believe in family, and I believe in connection as a person and as an artist. And I think one of the best people to show me that was the great Pete Seeger,
Pete Seeger.
the folk musician.
For
I watched him go into a room full of strangers and sing songs, and when he comes out, everybody is friends because they all sang together, and that's a beautiful thing. So I believe in connection. That is what I'm seeking with my life.
okay,
Connect.
Mr. Guy Davis, that were my questions. We thank you a lot for what we call your host time, the time that you have spent with us in the living room, the small place, but I'm sure that we will get a big show, a great show tonight. Thank you a lot to come to HALEN.
You're welcome, Rick. Thank you very much, man.
Thank you, Guy.